Creepypasta as a medium has given us countless modern-day horror icons. For example, Slenderman, the tall, faceless horror who stalks the woods and loves to draw. The Rake, a Wendigo-like fellow who is named after one of the scariest things ever. A gardening tool, this toy from Spirit Halloween that has something to do with sleepy Russians or some such. And of course, Smile Dog, a scary JPEG. The spiritual predecessor to Bored Apes, but substantially less embarrassing. But among these examples, and countless others, one has always stood out to me. Jeff the Killer. One of the more famous or infamous creepypasta villains, with images such as this cementing him as an ominous relic of the 2010s. Which is good because there has to be at least one evil Jeff in each decade. And Jeff has stood out to me for a long time, for one unsettling reason. He sucks. I'm sorry, but I can't take this guy seriously. In a world of eldritch horrors, neo-cryptids, and SCPs, you're telling me that an angsty 13-year-old stands as their equal? Listen, I love grounded horror characters as much as I do the supernatural ones, but there are so many out there that are so much better than this guy. The Pen Pal saga started in the same year as the original Jeff the Killer creepypasta, and the villain in that is infinitely scarier. I'm by no means saying that I could beat every 13-year-old in a fight. I'm sure some are frighteningly strong or resourceful, but as a 53-year-old man, I reckon I could beat most. For those unaware, the most popular story of Jeff is as such. He was a 13-year-old called Jeffrey Woods, which is one of the better biomes he could have been named after. Thank God he wasn't called Jeffrey Island. And he killed some other kids, and then his family, and now he walks around in a white/grey hoodie and murders people, which was the style at the time. He also got severely burnt and self-carved a Glasgow smile into his face, and for some reason removed his own eyelids, which would absolutely render him blind after a very short time, but nobody seems to care for that little detail. And that's about it. The only other notable feature of his would be his catchphrase. Before murdering people, he'd mutter, "Go to sleep," which was brazenly stolen from CM Punk and Melatonin. When I was younger, I found the phrase, "go to sleep," quite ominous, whereas if someone says that to me now, I'd think it was a brilliant idea. And of course, much like so many other creepypasta icons, Jeff has had a number of video games inspired by his tale. You know, like Silent Hill Jeff. Today I'm going to talk about some of them. Now, I have sourced them from various places, and that journey alone is worth mentioning. I started at the two homes of many indie horror games, Itch.io and Game Jolt, which weirdly feel like off-brand versions of each other. But Itch.io was a real letdown, mostly because its search function is among the worst on the internet. And a lot of the games that did pop up were dating simulators. There's a number of issues with that. So instead I went to Game Jolt to see if I'd have any more luck, and thankfully, I very much did. Upon searching the phrase, Jeff the Killer, it returned 8 communities, 8 users, and 10,000 games. Unfortunately, not all of these 10,000 games are actually Jeff the Killer related. In fact, pretty quickly it starts going off topic. Some Nights at Joe's Remake, or as I like to call it, Mafia 2 Definitive Edition. But anyway, let's just jump into some of the games I found, and don't get your hopes up. It's reassuring that we're immediately hit with a not canon to the original creepypasta disclaimer in the opening splash screens. I was worried about that. We get a little intro scene showing some lovely shots of a cozy home, but oh dear, someone's gonna cut that bread again. It also showcases a major feature of this game. A pixel filter, chromatic aberration, and lens distortion. I imagine this is how Jeff sees after losing his eyelids. I've gone on enough rants about visual filter overuse in the past, so I won't go on about it, but it's just a great way of making sure that every editing software plus YouTube compression will annihilate the video's quality. Thanks! Anyway, we're told that we are an orphan who has been in care for the last 3 years. We also allegedly have a brother who is missing. And that brother is definitely Jeff the Killer. Now, Jeff's brother was a character in the original creepypasta, and his name was Liu. And something interesting about Liu is his name. So, Jeff was called Jeff, and his parents were Peter and Margaret. So, where did the famously Chinese name Liu come from? So we find a spooky building in the wilderness and descend down an elevator into some kind of stalker lab. And there he is, Jeff the Killer. He attacks us, but foolishly, he locks himself behind a one-way fire door. which means he's dead. That's the end. He will starve to death in that little cubby. While exploring, I can't help but look at the sprinting animation here. I know some people found the sad Satan movement nauseating, and I would agree with you, but it's just as egregious here. I must beg game developers, please consult the human eye before designing your POVs. They are very good at stabilizing an insane amount of movement. There's a pretty cool moment where you see Jeff lurking on the other side of some glass, and I wanted to get a screenshot of this for potential thumbnail use. But look at how much the camera moves, even when stationary. This is crazy. I can't make the little pointless crosshair disappear. But anyway, we move on and discover a valve that we have to turn, and we're told that there are 7 more. It's Jeffler the 8 Valvages, but we get one for free. However, unlike Slenderman, Jeff is a moron. He lacks object permanence, and once you turn off your flashlight, he forgets you exist. He just kind of wanders around as you complete objectives, occasionally remembering that he's there to stop you when you do the most obvious actions within direct, glowing eyesight of him, which is when he decides to blow you up with his mind. Once that's all done, we sneak through a vent like we're playing Metal Gear Solid, but without the cool interruptions to tell us facts about lizards or some such, in a section that was so intense that it made OBS record at 30 frames per second for some reason. Then we have to run away from Jeff lest we be hit by his blue light stare until eventually he realizes that we're his brother and he simply lets us leave. And that's the end. It's a concise game, as pretty much all of these will be, which makes sense given the pretty limited scope of the subject matter. The game looks okay, excessive effects aside, it sounds good, and it plays fine. It's nothing special, but it's more competent than many of the other offerings you're going to see, and that's why I'm harsher towards this one than you may expect. This and the next game are likely the only actual criticisms you're going to see here, and you'll soon understand why. This is a direct continuation of Reunion, but where that one ends with us longingly gazing towards a distant cityscape, this one starts with us in some kind of crazy high-rise apartment in the most densely populated city on Earth. Mayhaps Tokyo, New York, or, I don't know, Kowloon. Then we go to sleep on our couch because we're in one of those TikToks where a guy builds a room for himself in like a 1x1 square using materials that he borrowed from his aunt or whatever. Once again, I must ask, is this a well-known thing or am I algorithmically challenged? And we sleep until we are awoken by... Oh God, I'll see you in the comments. We're then kidnapped and taken to a different apartment within the Kowloon walled city, a bit like that Black Ops level, but we don't need to chew on any glass. Now, I have something of an apology to make when it comes to Jane the Killer, the antagonist of this game. In my Slendrina video, I mistakenly reduced Jane to a female version of Jeff the Killer. She's actually not. She has her own massive lore and following. It's Nina the Killer that is the emo girl counterpart to Jeff. It turns out that there are apparently 2 different Jane the Killers. There's Jane Richardson and Jane Arkansas. Jane Richardson is fluent in like 8 languages and was born in 1985, making her, I believe, substantially older than Jeff. We'll refer to her as Jane 985. The other is a contemporary of Jeff, making them a similar age, and we simply won't refer to her at all. Jane 985 is way funnier. Jeff is still 13 in my eyes, whereas Jane will now be 40. Why are you rivals with a 13-year-old, Jane? Don't you have a mortgage to pay off? Doesn't he have homework to do? She explains that she's using us as bait to lure in and kill Jeff, which is bold considering he has the perception and wisdom of a particularly dim slug. But alas, she seems to know what she's doing. Then we enter a little mini granny-like game where we have to find objects like lockpicks, codes, keys, and crowbars in order to escape while avoiding her. In fact, that list of items I gave was completely exhaustive. It's not a long game, but it's much more interesting than the collect my valves gameplay of the previous one. Plus, Jane is far more interesting to navigate. She only appears in one room, and much like with Jeff, we need to avoid standing in light to be caught. But the arena in which we find her is much more deliberately structured, meaning we can't quite as easily humiliate her. She wanders around, patrolling the area, and doing that iconic thing that all women do while walking, saying, la la la. After a few rounds of this, we attempt to leave, and we see that the Jeff level of intelligence is indeed a family trait, as this is how we use a crowbar. Jane kindly knocks us out for our ignorance. We then wake up again, having gone 0 and 2 against goth girls. Me too, buddy. We find ourselves trapped on a roof, with Jane once again using us as bait for Jeff. And there he is! He made it up the stairs. What a clever thing he is. Then we try to escape in the least urgent chase sequence of all time before we fall down some stairs, because up is doable by the Woods family, but down needs some work. Then Jeff kills a woman in front of us, and that's our happy ending. I enjoyed this game a lot more than I did Reunion. It had the same strengths, but with fewer weaknesses. Plus, to me, Jane is far more interesting than Jeff is. But now we have to step into a whole new realm of Jeff the Killer games. Buckle up. Something I did not expect when going into any of these Jeff the Killer games was a fully voice-acted sequence taking place in a very strangely blocked office space between a mercenary and his employer. Alas,
reports have been coming in from the townsfolk of a white-faced creature.
Jeffrey?
That's the working theory.
the absolute whiplash between the end of this scene and the main menu screen is frankly beautiful. The months of physical therapy will be well worth it for this level of artistic pioneering. And then, the game itself is quite special. Are any of you old enough to have played Timesplitters 1 or GoldenEye? Imagine that, but made over a decade later and without the, how you say, quality. So we once again take the role of Jeff the Killer's brother, Liu, with his iconic 10-round revolver and complete lack of urgency, and we kill a bunch of guys while mourning the death of police officers. Until, of course, Jeff gets us. And I hate what I'm about to say, truly, but I was going to hit the stop recording button on OBS so I could take some notes, and as I was doing that, a Jeff the Killer cuboid appeared, and it genuinely startled me. All of you should unsubscribe for that one fact alone. But what I was going to write before that scare happened was, I think I recognize this ambience, but I don't know where from. Do any of you know? If any of you were wondering why this video had a flashing light warning, it's because of this game. After a little while, Jeff's disembodied voice begins speaking to us, and just listen to him.
Sweet heroic Lou, are you going to try to kill me again?
Tell me this isn't the voice of a guy who uses a Joker profile picture and posts slurs on Twitter. And I'm just gonna play the next few seconds completely unedited for you.
How could you survive those stab wounds?
The same way you survived Randy and his goons.
And yeah, dying resets the whole game. So, let's go again. What the fuck? Accessing this game is easy. All you have to do is open the game folder, and then 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 open the game folder. Ah fuck, it's the same game again, but without the funny intro movie, mercenary level, and for some reason we have 10 times as much health and a different, worse gun. I genuinely didn't know these two were so similar. It just happened. It's a game where you use your gun maybe twice and comb through rooms mashing the enter key until you hear a pickup noise, and then you just kind of win. What if when you died, this showed up? I'd be cross. It's the same game! It turns out a load of people uploaded this exact same thing, and I have no idea who the original creator was, so great. I got my personal best time down to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Fuck you, Jeff. You go to sleep. It's way past your bedtime, you little shit. Now this is a real classic, at least from what I remember. Very much Jeff's answer to Slender the 8 Pages, which is not a glowing recommendation. You wanna know how classic this game is? While I downloaded the others from Itch.io, GameJolt, or some kind of mobile app store, I got this one from IndieDB. Crikey. I don't know what the title of this game is referring to. Illusion Ghost Killer? I was gonna do a whole bit where I use a thesaurus to generate equally unhelpful names, but I'm above that. Bamboozle Spectre Murderer.
This is a place full of strange things. Many people have heard scary things coming from this place. I want to find out what happens in this place.
It's amazing how versatile this intro text is. This could be the opening to the Blair Witch Project or a trip to France. Who knows? Guess which country this was made in? If Silent Hill Townfall doesn't have an enormous saltire as the first sight amongst the fog, then I'll be very cross. The goal of this game is to place cameras in small red areas, much like you're the CIA in the 1970s, but they didn't have to worry about Jeff the Killer, and we very much do, lest he kill us and say, I'm not certain what he's saying here, but it's not go to sleep. Go to slip isn't the most intimidating thing to say. Go to slap, on the other hand.
Give slap your bones, you dogs!
This game is fucking bullshit, by the way. Jeff will just spawn on you and kill you within seconds after placing the first camera. And if you don't immediately sprint away, you just lose and have to sit through a 2013 loading screen. At least Slenderman had the decency to play with us a little bit. The best I got before looking up strategies for the game was like 4 out of 6 cameras placed. And when I did look up videos of other people playing it, I found that both Markiplier and John Wolfe quit before beating the game as well. And those guys are way more resilient than I am. I decided to play in Brazilian Portuguese to see if, I don't know, there was some kind of language debuff. And weirdly, I did manage to set a new personal best, but fuck me, this game is unforgiving and, dare I say, quite unfun. The spots where Jeff appears are static and seemingly have no cooldown on them, so it's hard to actually reach a lot of the red zones, which also seem to be picked randomly from a number of possible locations, meaning that if you really wanted to, you could just keep retrying this game until you got some favorable spawns. But I don't want to. I did think that maybe like Lewis Hamilton did for being good at Formula 1, I could score Brazilian citizenship by being good at Illusion Ghost Killer, but unfortunately 5 out of 6 cameras is the best you're getting. Max Verstappen took the 6th. This game has maybe the funniest options menu I've ever seen. It only covers graphics, and it only gives you 2 options. Increase or decrease. You have to press either button multiple times for anything to actually change. It's a game where you have to walk around in an enormous maze and place cameras down that don't point at anything. And then Jeff appears, and much like with Slenderman, if you look away from him, he teleports around. Which is fine, or would be if the game's default sensitivity wasn't set to Silent Hill fan when the game isn't Silent Hill 2 mode. Seriously, as a guy with like pretty twitchy and shaky hands, this is borderline unplayable. And upon retrying it, I decided to see what the low graphics setting would look like. And you won't believe it, the only noticeable difference to me was that the flashlight gets turned off. That's astounding. But the more I play it, the more I start to appreciate why it's called Jeff the Killer Abandoned. And it's for quite an interesting reason, you see. As you progress... For the only mobile game offering in this video, we have Jeff the Killer from SU Company Games, a development studio so dryly named that it may as well have been called Game Developer. No shade intended towards Deviloper here. And speaking of Deviloper, this is something of a granny-like. And by something, I mean it's a granny-like in almost every conceivable way. In fact, some of you may have seen the trailer for a Jeff the Killer granny-like coming out soon for PC. Yeah, this is that game. So, let's get a little sneak peek. Unfortunately, this is a mobile game, so within 3 seconds of me booting it up, I get an ad, as is tradition. However, that is somewhat offset by Jeff unexpectedly speaking to me.
I smell your fear.
I don't like the way your face moved there, Jeff. However, what I do like is this intro scene we're given. It's surprisingly high quality. It's a little animated sequence showing us being kidnapped by Jeff during our sleep. At least, I think we're asleep. With that neck angle, we may already be dead. Now, I'm a certified Jeff denier, but I will say this is maybe the first Jeff the Killer media I've ever seen that makes him look kinda cool. But we're cooler because we look like patches. Unfortunately, I played this game on the native Google Play app for PC, and the control scheme there is less than ideal. So Jeff kills me pretty quickly, and then my rival shows up. Talking Tom. You know what, Tom? That's the kind of name we'd give you in the mob before chaining you to a concrete block and throwing you into the Atlantic. I eventually got it working on BlueStacks, which made it far more playable, but unfortunately, in the place of ads, I just got these screens for 20 seconds at a time, which interrupted the gameplay instead. But, that being said, when I did play, I actually got a really interesting granny clone with some very promising elements, and I'll be honest, I did not make this video to tackle a genuinely intriguing game, so I'll just make another video shortly after this, when the game actually comes out for PC. But for now, the footnotes are, this might be the first game to make Jeff the Killer actually somewhat intimidating. Good heavens. It takes a lot for Jeff the Killer to unsettle me, as you may have already noted, but I will say, the image in the menu for this game comes pretty close. It's either his frightful visage or the default FPS creator menu buttons doing that. Anyway. This is the first game of several I'm going to cover from the developer Imelsoft. You may notice some stylistic choices and motifs shared from game to game going forward. Something I love here is that when we start the game, not only do we get Jeff the Killer doing his best annoying orange cosplay, but we also get this loading music. This is an incredibly nostalgic track. I believe I remember it from like Ex Mortis or some other point-and-click horror from the 2000s. I could be wrong, but it's very reminiscent regardless. Now, when we get into the game, we see some interesting things. A lives counter, a health counter, and an air counter? Is Jeff planning on drowning us, or perhaps leaving us in a poorly ventilated garage? We get a gun, and upon leaving the starting room, we find some Half-Life 2 zombies, sans headcrab, that is. And this is pretty par for the course. I recall even in 2010 or 2011 that Half-Life 2 was still considered to be a very good-looking game. That might be kinda crazy now, but to be fair, it was well ahead of its time in that regard, so naturally, every scrap of it was stolen by indie developers, and I support that. The Half-Life 2 zombies aren't the only enemies though, as you can see by these bathroom goblins that I find. I usually try to maintain my composure while recording gameplay, but you can see, but not hear, me laughing when I first see them. And of course, no Jeff the Killer game would be complete without multiple buff, bold Jeff clones waiting to jump us as well. It's really interesting going back to games from this time period now, because having played various versions of Sad Satan, I can now see how fucking hacky it was. Almost all of the audio in Sad Satan is some kind of royalty-free or otherwise incredibly accessible nonsense that games like Hunt for Jeff Chapter 1 also used. Some of my younger viewers may get the impression that this is just what games from the early 2010s looked and sounded like, but that's only partially true. The gap between indie games and full studio developments these days is much smaller than it used to be. And here's a great example of that. This is a chest model ripped straight from Amnesia: The Dark Descent, a game that came out the year before the Jeff the Killer creepypasta even existed. And Amnesia looks and sounds fantastic, even holding up pretty decently to this day. In fact, this particular chest model may even predate Amnesia, coming potentially from 2007's Penumbra Overture, and Frictional Games was not a huge studio by any means at that time. I hate to accuse Jeff of anything, but one of the guns I find in his house looks shockingly like an STG-44. Is Jeff harboring caches of Nazi weaponry? Do we have yet another reason to put him down? And then I find another bald Jeff. This time he has a gun and he shoots me, causing the game to crash. This gave me an opportunity to check the game's files, and holy shit. In the game files, I found some Five Nights at Freddy's music that had been literally stolen using tuberipper.cc, which I adore. They didn't even change the file name. Truth be told, I still get a lot of my video background music from similar sources, so this is genuinely quite endearing. And after playing through the whole thing again, it turns out that Gun Jeff is the very last enemy, and you win after finding his favorite metal basement door. Cool. But there's not only a sequel to this, but instead, several. Unlike the last game, this one has a Jane the Killer loading screen. And that's all I have to say on the matter. Thankfully, we get a Thompson M1A1 instead of some kind of Nazi weaponry, so that's character progression, I reckon. Visually, this game is much darker, and I don't mean that in terms of gore or horror, I mean in terms of I can't see shit, so I won't linger too long here. And I especially won't linger because, oh good god, there are skeletons in this game. Now, I usually love to do a skeleton bit on this channel, you guys know that, but holy shit, I could not keep it together while I was recording the gameplay footage for this. Because I was too frightened. The skeletons moan as well, which is unsettling. Oh, there's Jane. Ultimately, it's much the same game as the last, but with some new enemies. I'm glad it wasn't tuned ridiculously. A lot of older indie games try to squeeze as much frustration as they can out of you, and this one didn't do this at all. In fact, it was pretty easy to cheese a lot of the fights by simply being at range. Even in the final fight with Jeff, he was simply too far away to do anything, so I just picked him slowly off with a BAR, which is canonically how he dies. And that's how it ends, but have no fear, there is another game. A finale to this grand trilogy of 4 dead Jeffs and 2 dead Janes. Jeff, attempting to undermine Slendrina's property management empire, has wrested control of an entire city. Can you imagine anything more frightening than infrastructure managed by an angsty 13-year-old? Neither can I. Let's read the lore. Red Fort City in West Virginia has been seemingly abandoned. But why? Jeff took over. That's why. And now you by yourself alone gotta take it back and kill Jeff and report to police. Now, illusion ghost killer. That's how you set up a game. Almost heaven, West Virginia is mostly stock zombie assets and strangely scaled apartment blocks if this game is anything to go by, with some occasional JPEG jump scares, of course, but I think that's an international issue. The game also seems to posit that Jeff himself is a zombie, which isn't true. He isn't cool enough to be supernatural. And it's frankly impressive how little happens in this game. You just run down a street avoiding zombies and getting pop-ups of edited screen caps from Psycho or Smile? Smile, the 2022 horror movie? When the fuck was this game made? Holy shit, this game was released in October 2025, potentially making this the most timely review of a game I've ever done. That kinda reshapes my whole perspective on the previous games. On GameJolt it says that Immelsoft, the developer, joined 12 months ago, and the bio says weekly FPS games. Goddamn, okay, if each of these games was made in 1 week, that explains a lot. I make videos once every, 2 months, and they are of comparable quality, so this is, if anything, worthy of applause. Anyway, we find a man in a hut who gives us a light machine gun which we use to kill multiple Tommy Vercettis. We then turn our attention to Jeff and his 2 Left 4 Dead himbo buddies, which, unfortunately, I could not maintain my composure at. Then the game just sort of ends. Is Jeff dead? Yes. Now, the next set of games were all made by one developer, Poison Games, who has made so many different games for so many different horror IPs. We're talking Slenderman, Siren Head, Slendrina, The Rake. Honestly, Poison Games could be a whole video in itself. But for now, let's just look at a handful of the Jeff the Killer games, starting with Jeff the Killer, Horrendous Smile, or Jeff the Killer British edition if you're aiming low. This game has 8 levels. Christ. Here's the setup.
You sleep, you dream, you have a nightmare, wake up, strange noise in your house, investigate.
I know a lot of people use my videos to fall asleep to, and I apologize if any of that genuinely woke you up, but if it did, it's probably best you do check if any annoying 13-year-olds are, I don't know, summoning zombies or some shit. Unfortunately, when we wake up in the game, we discover that we live in the back rooms. I don't know why so many of these Jeff the Killer games don't use any kind of lighting, but at this point I don't particularly care. As we explore the house, Jeff appears and disappears quickly. He also appears to be short, which I guess is lore accurate. We find our front door is locked, and as such we have to find our baseball bat to defend ourselves, which is a natural progression. And when we inevitably see Jeff, we kill him immediately via blunt force. We then say, Jeff the Killer, ? That is strange. And yes it is. We then start key hunting around our house because not only is our front door locked, but also our back door and basement too. And out of nowhere, a fucking Viking skeleton attacks us. Why does a skeleton Viking invade my Jeff lore? And I'm not kidding, I spent between 5 and 8 minutes searching for the 3 keys you're meant to get to progress, and I only found 1 of them. I managed to get Hexcraft Eventide Sigil's secret ending, but Jeff the Killer Horrendous Smile was too much for me. The game is also kinda whatever, so I don't really give a shit. This is maybe the worst menu I've ever seen. The buttons are off-center, Jeff is just standing there. All it needs now is an ad pop-up. In this game, we wander around a forest, pick up a gun, kill a miscellaneous blue-collar worker, and then do some urban exploration, which naturally gets us a shotgun held in the tight grip of a dead nurse. We then meet Jeff and kill him a few times, which weirdly is not the main objective of a game called Let's Kill Jeff the Killer. Instead, we need to find 8 pictures of him, which I am not comfortable having on my hard drive. I spent 10 minutes exploring this asylum trying to complete this game, and the best I could do was 6 out of 8 pictures collected. So if anyone thinks my praise for the Slendrina games was illegitimate or pandering, know this. I completed every single one of those games with some degree of enthusiasm, and I'm tapping out at Chapter 1 of Jeff's version. Yes, Chapter 1. From what I can see, there are 5 chapters. Let's just skip to the last one and see what happens there. The director announces that Jeff be in the cognitive corner and the patients be angry for the order of quit the food and try attack the— I do have the Jeff key. I don't have the Jeff key. Jeff is dead. Jeff is alive. This man is my friend. There are 6 of him. I have 2 syringes. My friend shoot at me. This audio loop won't stop. I'm a model from Half-Life 2. There is no end. There is no end. There is no end. This game's a fucking cognito hazard, and I've never felt further from God. Thankfully, Poison Games has a few other offerings for us, which might just feel a little more pleasant. There she is. Jane the Killing. Do you think you could slow down a little bit, Jane? Listen to the sound this game makes whenever you hover over an option in the menu. When we get to the game proper, it's clear that we're not fucking around. The default weapon is a street sweeper shotgun, named for its ability to commit horrific crimes. The streets in this 1-acre large town are littered with zombies, nurses, and several Janes. So naturally, we must upgrade from the street sweeper to 2 more impressive weapons, an actual minigun and a chainsaw. And of course, the chainsaw is the best weapon there. We have to find 8 vials of something called liquid hate in order to permanently kill Jane, despite the game telling us in the intro that she's not really a threat and, if anything, is something of an asset. But, you know, such is the way. And after collecting all 8 vials, which involved jumping over a fence that definitely looked like it was indicating an out-of-bounds area, we get the message. Kill Jane the Killer. Which I do. But that was the wrong Jane the Killer. So I kill her properly and the game unceremoniously ends. It's the same game, again. Did you expect me to say more? And there are many, many, many more like it, all from the same developer. Like Slenderman, History, World War II, Faceless Horror, which posits that Slenderman was a Nazi experiment. And there he is, in his little uniform. Then there's naturally a whole host of crossover games like Jeff the Killer vs. Slenderman, which is hilarious to even think about. Come on, this is basically Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing 13-year-old. But one of these games that may interest you guys is Jeff the Killer versus Slendrina. And this is quite the sight. Interestingly, the model used for Slendrina here is the same as the little parkour girl from Sad Satan, except here, she is the one who breaks out of bounds. I played this game while on a call with my friend Perdita, and here's some footage from that.
The music? Wait, do you play as Jeffrey or do you play as Slendrina?
Oh, you get to choose.
Oh,
I want to play
God,
Slendrina.
This is crazy. Yeah, duh. You're the Slendrina guy.
You got bored from Jeff the Killer fame. As humans can't stop him, you must. Take his lovely photos, 8 of them, and kill him. Good luck.
Thanks. Wait, look in the top right. What the? You can tell it's Jeff the Killer because of his iconic zombie sounds.
Yeah.
His
and also the fact that
gurgling.
there's multiple of him like we've established before.
Yeah, we've already established that there is more than one Jeff.
Okay, I found one of the photos. Who's this?
Oh my god, that's one of the Slendermen!
There's a...
But there's a... Damn it, Trudy, I'm trying to find 8 photos and defeat Jeff and his evil companions. You're not serious. I like how it sounds like you're walking on sand, but you're walking on gravel. Not gravel. Fuck!
Slendrina is the best horror character. Goodbye, Jeff the Killer.
I wish you got a live me reaction to that.
And I really want to
maybe-
quickly check if the Jeff the Killer story is any different. What's your reaction to this painting? Oh. Oh, I've got to find teddy bears. Oh, 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 oh.
Who is this?
Ma'am, who are you?
Slendrina.
Whoa! Okay, what the fuck is this? Oh, stop! Oh! I gotta get out of
I
here.
will say this is a lot louder than Slendrina's story.
Yeah, this is there's just a lot of noise. Hello, Slendrina. Jeff the Killer is the best horror character. Goodbye, Slendrina.
That's not true.
But my favorite iteration of this whole formula has to be with Poison Games' magnum opus. Slenderman versus Freddy the Fazbear. I also played this one on the same call, so here you go. You're welcome. I'm telling you, this is some kind of crazy game.
Games. Why is he stimming?
I want to play Slenderman first. Your fame is dropping since Freddy the Fazbear appeared. You need to end this. Find 8 pizzas.
It's kind of true.
Yeah.
Freddy the Fazbear did kind of take some of his thunder. Excuse me, what? You're not fucking serious. Oh my god, you're not serious. Oh,
Get away from me!
Holy shit, he's on a stealth mission.
Whoa!
This is what he does when you're not looking at him so he can sneak up on you.
Can you see what it says at the bottom of the screen?
Find your death sword.
I've got to find it before Freddy finds me.
Oh, I think I found my death sword.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. My god. Oh my god.
They can't hit me! I gotta get closer.
Do you think they have preset spawns in this one?
I think so.
And they don't just keep generating? What is this sound effect?
I think this is meant to be like a boss fight, but I'm cheesing it. There we go. Awesome job, Slenderman. Freddy is gone. People will fear you again. Your fame is dropping since Slenderman is on the rise again. Oh, this is a direct sequel. You need to end this.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. That was crazy. You're telling me you hit him with the microphone? Oh my god. Dude!
I've got to find the pages.
Oh, that's a different guy. That's not Slenderman. Who is this?
All right. That's John Fingernail.
I'm out of here.
Oh god, run, Freddy Fazbear.
Yeah, you gotta tell Trudy like Paint's playing some like deep web games.
He had to sell an orphan's arm to get access to this game.
There's one platform that is always a reliable source of games for any given topic. Roblox. Genuinely, I think you could type your deepest, darkest secret into the Roblox search engine and you'd find a game fully built around it with 15 concurrent players and a rating of 64%. So naturally, there's quite a lot of Jeff to get through here. Rather than write any kind of script for this section, I'm just going to show you some of the highlights I played while playing through some of these games, again with my friend Perdita, because it can be quite hard to put into words what's actually going on in a lot of these. Okay, wait, I may have miscounted the number of games I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It
well,
just
8.
keeps going.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'm gonna join a game. I don't know if this one will last very long. In fact, I don't know if any of them will last very long.
Hello.
We're the 2 types of male.
Yep. Female and male. Who just boing-oinged? How do I do that? Oh my god!
No, Jeff's gonna get you! Oh, jeez! Look at how fast you can run in this game, by the way.
Wait, is it someone else playing as Jeff?
No, it's a fucking AI Jeff.
No, Jeff.
What's happened to my face? Well, I'm gonna show you a cool thing you can do with Jeff in this game. Jeff, come here. Jump in the water. And
Wait, do you like my swimming animation?
holy shit! Look. Oh my god, he fell off the map! Oh shit, I'm joining him.
Everybody remembers Jeff the Killer's iconic red glow.
Oh, he's stuck in the shop, I think. Oh
Jeff,
shit, we got Che.
You need to buy 600 cash before you can go in there. Oh.
Oh my god, he just got a double kill. Oh!
Wait, you have the cloud! Hurry, fly away! Wait, I want the cloud.
This was in the original creepypasta. A few people know this.
I remember this. Only real Jeff fans remember.
This has got a 92% rating, by the way. This is really good.
Oh, okay. This is gonna be. Wait, hold on. I got a message about my DoorDash order from Samantha.
I don't know where Jeff is.
Wow, this is really good.
This is the remake. This is the good one. Oh, there he is. Hi, Jeff. Holy shit.
Oh my god, he actually like swings at you. Where's my cloud? I missed the cloud.
He actually Jeff that kills you in this one. Oh my god. Wow. Wait, come to where I am. And don't jump over the edge. He's just looking up at me. Oh shit, he's gone.
Oh no, I see him.
Yeah. Oh my god. Why is he asking for uppies? Oh. Oh shit!
He's climbing the tree!
Whoa!
Oh my.
Wait, can he climb?
I don't even get my sick animations.
Jeff, come here. Jeff.
Is it in the lore? In the lore, can he climb? Oh my god, look at him. Oh wow. Oh wow.
I imagine this is what you do at work.
Yeah.
Oh
I
shit!
get under the... Oh no, he's Jeff the killing me. Ow, ow.
This next one's gonna be way better. There's this got a 69% rating with 176 current players.
It's Jeff the killer. Okay.
I forgot this has got
just Jeff the killer.
This has got amnesia music blasting the entire time.
Wait, why is he? Wait. I'm sorry. Where are my clouds? Wait, who is this? There's a woman after me now.
That's Jane the killer.
There's a woman laughing at me now. Don't laugh at me, bitch. I'm a pilot.
Tita, look at the hot sauce. Look at the hot sauce.
Tabasco!
No, read what it says.
Ultimate epic sauce juice. Oh my gosh. This is gonna stop him. Still on. Let's hold hands and jump on the trampoline. Yay! Yay!
Wait, can we talk about the window placement on this house?
Wait, yeah, what?
What?
I'm gonna say.
Wait!
What? How did?
All right, this is the only one I think that's like an actual game, and there's currently 0 people playing it.
Are you trying to tell me the other ones weren't actual games? Because that's offensive.
Oh, a random player is
wait,
Jeff.
I'm Jeff.
No.
Where are you? Hi.
I'm in my truck. You can't get me. I'm in my truck. No.
Nice truck, idiot.
Oh my god, this is Dead by Daylight. When they inevitably add Jeff the Killer to DVD, it's gonna be exactly like this. Eliminate boss,
what?
Jeff. Press 1. Bring out your gun.
Okay. Me turning off the killer's monitor at 5 gens. Oh my god! Help! 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 I'm tanking.
I'm reloading.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Wait, treat this like a WoW raid. I'm taking.
Healers.
Would you heal?
He's trying to run away. Get him. Take his jacket.
Okay, we killed Boss Jeff. What now?
We loot his gold.
Yes.
Do you want to see what happens when I'm really peed off? When I'm really peed off? Fight off as many Jeffs as you can.
What the fuck?
What do you mean? What do you mean fight off as many Jeffs as I can? Oh shit. Oh, they're dying.
Oh my god, I remember that part of the creepypasta where, like, someone woke up and he was, like, in their face and he was like, "Do you watch Painticus?"
I remember that part in the creepypasta where he split up into 35 different smaller Jeffs.
I'm gonna get a Painticus tattoo where it's your little icon and it says...
Hang on, I'm gonna put that in the video, but I'm gonna just like censor what you said. Okay, I can't remember what this game is, but we're gonna see.
Obviously, it's Jeff the Killer.
Hey, do you want to see what I look like when you really peeve me off?
Like that? I was literally about to say, girl, no one cares. Put that away. That's more like it.
Oh,
Let's walk into the woods.
That flashlight is so bright. Oh my god, you can zoom out.
Is this?
You can zoom out so far. Like,
Whoa! I can see the entire map. I know where the missing guy is. Follow me.
We had a UAV spotting for us. That was cool.
And all the Satans said, "Oh no!" and they cried.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Watch out! Bring out your knife. Get him.
Whoa, oh no! He says, "Go
Oh.
to sleep."
Oh.
Oh. What is that sound effect?
And that's all. It seems that a lot of game developers subconsciously share my distaste or disrespect for Jeff the Killer, given that so many of them end with you killing him, or sometimes many of him. Now, there are loads of other games I could talk about, but I think that one Jeff the Killer video is more than enough. Unless you guys have several other games you want me to cover, like this crossover game between Jeff the Killer and the K-pop group BTS. Anyway, I'd hate for people to leave this video thinking that I'm disparaging the creepypasta genre or community in any way, because I'm not. I genuinely do love the creepypasta genre. It was a key part of my teen years, and even to this day I'm very fond of it. It's just Jeff that I can't stand. He fucking sucks. But in the year of our Lord 2025, and I'd assume this statement will remain true every year from now, creepypasta as a genre has largely fallen to AI. In fact, it was one of the first casualties that I noticed. Like with many people, my main intake of creepypasta stories was with narrations on YouTube. Now, that's a space with its fair share of controversies and allegations, but now, if you look at it, so many of the thumbnails are AI. So many of the stories appear to be AI, and this may be unfounded, but I think a lot of the narrations themselves have gone that way too. And that's a shame. I don't know if I'd be making videos today if it wasn't for the creepypasta scene of the 2010s. It's been sad to see a scene that I loved become saturated with such slop. I mean, it was already saturated with slop, but at least it was slop with a soul. That's really hard to say. But that being said, good horror narration still exists, and a lot of the stories are made for a much more mature audience. If you're like me and you still love the idea of good horror narration without the, let's call it, endearingly amateur writing of the creepypasta era, I do have some very good recommendations for current creators. Knifepoint Horror and Asophale Horror Fiction make some of the best horror narrations I've seen in years. And they write their own stories too, so you can really feel that the passion is there. Sorin Narnia, the guy behind Knifepoint Horror, is excellent at replicating that campfire story vibe, with his narrations being closer to audio dramas than traditional narrations. His production and performance is nearly unmatched, and he's been doing narrations for almost 15 years, if not more, so there's a lot to catch up on. His stories are often slow burns where mystery and emotion take center stage above straight up horror, and I adore his stuff, truly. You can sense his passion for the craft in every aspect of his work. And as for Asophale Horror Fiction, that's run by a guy called Jeffrey... Jeff? Holy fuck. That's run by a guy called Jeffrey Walker, and since 2020 or so, he's been making some of the best and most consistent horror stories I've encountered in a very long time. It takes quite a lot these days to give me the chills or genuinely unnerve me, but he's managed to do that time and time again. He also has a really cool consistency between several of his stories, so the more you listen to, the more you build an idea of the world he's creating at large. I genuinely cannot recommend it enough. Plus, for those long-term Painticus viewers, Asophale Horror Fiction is very heavy on the cosmic horror, as well as scratching that creepypasta itch, so that might be very much up your street. So go and check out those two guys. I might lure in horror fans, but I don't actually make anything scary myself. It's only right I guide you to people that actually do. But anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and I hope you had a wonderful Halloween. I'll see you all soon.